Super Bowl Sunday, Atlanta, January 30th, 2000. The big game was a big thriller and came down to one final play.
The game is over! The game is over!
But the real drama took place off the field. Ray Lewis, a star linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens, found himself at a post-game party where a drunken altercation turned deadly. By the time the clock ran out, he and two members of his entourage were charged with double homicide. A media blitz followed, and Lewis was soon playing defense again, in court. It's one of the most infamous crimes in sports history, and we're tackling it head on, today on Death in Entertainment. Super Bowl 34. The St. Louis Rams defeated the Tennessee Titans 23-16. And it was QB Kurt Warner versus Steve McNair. And it's regarded as one of the greatest matchups, thanks mostly to its final play known as the longest yard.
Oof.
The Titans were down one touchdown and managed to reach the St. Louis 10-yard line with 6 seconds to go. Wide receiver Kevin Dyson ran for the end zone, but linebacker Mike Jones tackled him 1 yard short of the goal line.
Mike Jones.
So there was no game-tying touchdown, and it was over.
Yeah, he reaches so hard for it, but just can't get there.
Rams quarterback Kurt Warner was the first undrafted quarterback to win a Super Bowl, and he was named the Super Bowl MVP. A spot that next year would be given to somebody else.
Ray
that
Lewis?
I may talk about later.
Okay.
So this game has also been called the .com Super Bowl for the large amount of advertisements purchased by .com companies.
That's .com.
And all these companies went under the next year and sunk the entire Dow Jones.
Yeah, the bubble peaked a few months later in March 2000.
Yeah.
And the halftime show, I'm sure you're wondering about that.
Of course.
It was produced by E-Trade and also Disney. And it was titled Tapestry of Nations, narrated by Edward James Olmos, and featured Phil Collins, Christina Aguilera, Enrique Iglesias, and Toni Braxton.
That sounds horrible.
They almost had too many people.
And one of the 88.5 million people watching all this unfold on TV was Ray Lewis, superstar linebacker.
Bum, bum, bum.
He wasn't playing in that game, though, because he was playing for the Ravens at that time.
Yeah, who were not in the Super Bowl.
No.
Actually, in the NFL, your team has to get to the Super Bowl for you to go.
True.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
But boy, was he Raven mad.
Yeah. Cow's on fire. Put him out.
By 1999, the Ravens were hitting their stride, and Lewis, at only 24 years old, was already a defensive juggernaut.
I'm the juggernaut.
He had the most tackles in the league with 165 and was named Linebacker of the Year by the NFL alumni. The team finished the season with a respectable 8-8 record, narrowly missing the playoffs. But that didn't stop Lewis from going to the Super Bowl as a spectator.
He had the Super Bowl in his sights.
Yes. His plan...
He was gunning for it.
His scope of vision.
Lewis started out at a party at his buddy Marty Carter's house, who was a safety for the Atlanta Falcons. It was a low-key affair with friends and other players from the league. Good vibes, good food, and good music, which at one point inspired Lewis to get on top of a pool table and have a dance-off with some random woman.
I'd be so pissed if I owned that pool table.
I'd be so pissed if I lost a dance. What's
To a
worse,
woman.
dancing on a pool table or losing the dance contest on the pool table?
Kyle starts screaming, get off my table! He has a brush with him.
Yeah. Is there a judge who's like, all right, well, you've seen the dancing. Who do you think won here? That guy.
We all lost.
That girl. Fuck. Yeah. The entire bar lost.
Later, as people were paying more attention to the game, Lewis started to get jealous at the sight of the Tennessee Titans, and especially his nemesis, running back Eddie George.
I remember him.
When an unnamed actress at the party exclaimed, "Eddie is a beast," he nearly lost it. Not only were the Titans his AFC division rivals, but the Ravens trounced them in their last matchup in early December, 41-14. In his head, he was thinking, it should be me on that field.
Should have stopped him.
Yeah.
After the game, Lewis touched base at his hotel in order to change into his nighttime outfit, which was a sleek, tailored cream suit, a long mink coat, a Piaget watch, a bold lock chain, and flashy earrings. Price tag, $250,000.
Jesus. I love how he's like bragging about wanting to always look good, but he's like, I got to go back. He's like a baby. He's like, I got to go back and put on my nighty-night times.
Yeah.
I got to go back to the hotel, get some tummy time. And
yeah, he has all his little rituals like a kid. Yeah. He eats some like graham crackers. Sucks his thumb.
Yeah.
Except his pajamas are $250,000.
Yeah, that's the only difference.
In his nighttime outfit with his entourage, they all went to the Cobalt Lounge, a club in the upscale neighborhood of Buckhead. Anybody who was anybody was there that night. Lewis sipped on his Remy Martin cognac, his drink of choice, and chilled out to the music and soaked it all in. He was young, rich, and already daydreaming, or should I say night dreaming, about what next season would bring him. Around 4 a.m., the party was dying down, and Sunday night was turning into Monday morning. Lewis and his entourage talked about keeping it going back at the hotel. They started to head towards their limo outside. 2 pretty girls caught their attention outside. And just like that, they were invited to join the crew and go to the after party.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, this is where things took a terrible turn. According to Lewis, a group of about 6 to 10 guys burst onto the scene, causing a ruckus. One of them ran over to he and his buddy Reginald Oakley and started yelling expletives like, "Fuck Ray Lewis," and that somebody should murder him.
Jeez.
Whoa.
This is according to Lewis, by the way.
This is his reasoning for what happened.
Yeah. So these rowdy guys were to become known as the Akron Group because that's where they were all from.
Akron, Ohio?
Yes.
Not a good place, I heard.
It sounds like a group of executives trying to start a hedge fund or something. We were attacked by the Akron Group.
Yeah.
So about 40 people had traveled from Ohio to Georgia that Super Bowl weekend in order to promote and support one of their own.
Who?
An up-and-coming rapper named Chino Nino,
What?
who was looking to generate some heat career-wise.
So they're just starting fights to start buzz for this rapper?
He's the next big thing at that time in the eyes of the people from Akron, Ohio.
These 6 people. You know, at least they're trying to promote their friend. You know, they don't want to just do their own thing. They're trying to put their buddy out there.
2 of Chino Nino's close friends, Jacinth Baker.
Wait, Jason or Jacynth?
Jacinth.
Oh my God. I hate when people do this stuff to their names. It's like Anthony Hardaway, who was on the Magic.
Yeah.
Remember that guy?
Oh, yeah.
Fernie with an F.
Yep.
Fernie Hardaway, not Anthony.
It's confusing. Yeah, I know. You can call him by his nickname if you want, Shorty.
Shorty. All right, Shorty.
So that's Jacinth
If
Baker.
it was like a CH, 3 O's, ORTY.
It's Shorty
I-E.
with EE instead of the Y.
Yeah.
And it's pronounced Shorty. And then Richard Rich Lawler. So they were 2 of Chino Nino's close friends, and although originally from Akron, were currently living in Atlanta, and they were super hyped up that night. In the version of events as told by Chino Nino, real name Jeff Gwen, it was a belligerent Reginald Oakley, the friend of Ray Lewis, who came up to him first and interrupted the conversation he was having with his buddy Chris as they were walking out of the club. Quote, he just wanted to fight. Like he had that look about him.
So who do we believe here?
None of them.
So Chino Nino and Chris both testified later that Lewis was apologizing to them for Oakley's behavior as he pulled him away in an attempt to get him to go inside the limo. So in their version, Oakley is an out-of-control drunk,
Yeah.
and Lewis is embarrassed by his behavior.
Gotcha.
Although it's unclear who instigated the argument, all accounts agree that Jeff Gwen, Chino Nino, and Reginald Oakley did have a heated exchange. Things escalated further when Jacinth Baker broke a champagne bottle over Oakley's head. Some say he did this as a defensive action because Oakley rushed him like a charging bull. Others say that Oakley had simply stepped into Baker's personal space during the argument and that it was a kind of sucker punch. Whatever the case, blood was now spilled, and the groups began scuffling. Joseph Sweeting, another guy from the Lewis entourage, was then jumped by two guys from the Akron crew, and here's where things get very murky. It was chaos on top of chaos.
And this is after 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is...
Oh, yeah.
Shouldn't be out.
Nothing good happens then.
No, nothing good happens after 3 a.m.
No.
And this is like an hour after that.
Yeah.
Ray Lewis later testified that he and his two new girl pals jumped into the limo as the violence broke out and then watched the fight unfold from inside the vehicle. Several witnesses say that was untrue. They claim that Lewis was absolutely part of the fight and was punching and kicking the victims himself.
Okay.
So if he was involved, was he simply trying to protect his buddies, or was he out for blood?
Or is he just like beating the dudes up? Because these are like big football dudes. Like Ray Lewis obviously is, but I don't know about his buddies.
These guys they were beating up were not big guys.
Yeah, they're like rap dudes, you know, who are like usually smaller, scrawnier people.
Yeah. In his book, I Feel Like Going On, Life, Game, and Glory, Ray Lewis said his only intention was to break up the fight before he left the scene. And he used his clothes as a defense. Quote, "Remember, I was dressed out, had my jewelry on, my fine mink coat. I wasn't about to start mixing it up looking like that."
I don't know. Maybe I do agree with that.
You scuffed my coat.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to scuff you.
You got some Miller Lite on my mink.
Hold my earrings.
Yeah.
Eventually, Oakley escaped the scuffle and entered the limo. Driver Dwayne Fassett floored it. Fassett floored it.
Yeah.
Oprah Uma. But as they drove off, shots were fired, and the limo was struck multiple times, hitting the trunk, side panels, and back tire.
Holy shit.
No bullets hit any human targets. When the smoke and crowd cleared, Jacinth Baker and Rich Lawler from the Akron crew were dead, lying in the street. They were aged 21 and 24, respectively.
Wow, they were young guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They had been stabbed multiple times with a punch blade, which is a short dagger with a T-handle that's designed to be grasped and held in your hand. The gunshots came from a man named Marlon Burrows, a friend of the victims who had just arrived on the scene.
So did the shots come after the stabbing?
Yeah, because upon
got it.
seeing their lifeless bodies,
Yeah.
Burrows pulled out his gun and fired 7 shots at the escaping limo.
Fuck. Imagine if you're the driver of this limo. Like, what did I get myself into tonight?
Yeah.
I should have took this gig.
And maybe not so coincidentally, a day earlier, Reginald Oakley and Joseph Sweeting had bought punch blades from the Sports Authority where Lewis had been signing autographs.
Oh, I did not know this.
Yeah, although it was purchased using Lewis's credit card and his signature was on the receipt, Lewis says he was too busy at the event and wasn't even aware of the purchase.
Wow.
Weirdly enough, his name and phone number were on the receipt. You're thinking, oh, how did that happen? Well, an acquaintance of Lewis's had chased him down in the parking lot after the signing at the Sports Authority and wanted to exchange contact info.
Oh.
So Lewis starts feeling around and he can't find anything to write his number on. So Sweeting then handed him the receipt. And so he wrote his name and phone number and gave it to that guy. And this would later be turned over to police as evidence.
So that guy gave it up. His acquaintance. He's like, right off the bat, like, here, you go. I heard you looking for evidence.
So that brings the question, why did they buy the blades? Was it for protection or murder?
No factual evidence ever of me ever being in an altercation. Ever.
Ray Lewis was arrested and charged with the double murder of Baker and Lawler, along with Oakley and Sweeting.
To the family, if you really knew the way God works, he don't use people who commits anything like that for his glory. No way. It's the total opposite.